Hey all, this is Mike,
And this is Paxton.
and welcome to the Mad LiberTEA Party, where up is down, left is right, the rum is always gone, and the world is full of clowns.
If you feel like the world's gone mad, then pull up a chair and we'll throw you a teacup, because we're all mad here.
Yep, we sure as hell are. And speaking of madness, we've got a fucking insane suggestion for all of you today. It's a pretty crazy one, and it kind of stems back to like when I was a kid. I was kind of raised in a certain way. My dad used to always tell me that if you saw something going on that was bad or harmful to somebody, that you should. Well, I mean, like when I was a kid, obviously, you just like go tell somebody. If you see something, say something. And as I got older, it switched from that to then do something about it. Um, and that just seems to me to be a little bit of an anomaly these days. You know, I think that it's something worth talking about, don't you?
No.
Go fuck yourself, Paxton. You're so
It,
antisocial.
it's become an issue of people, especially in like the Southern culture, it's kind of like rude to interfere in other people's business. When there's like a child throwing a fit or something, like you're not supposed to look at the child throwing a fit. Everyone's supposed to just keep doing their own thing and
Yeah.
minding their business. Uh,
No one
but I
does, though. They think about it. They're like, oh, for God's sake, what the fuck is wrong with that kid and what the fuck is wrong with the parent?
well,
But they don't see
yeah,
it.
I think what we need to start doing though is encouraging people to realize that if you're talking about the police not being a necessity any longer, then we have to show people that the police aren't a necessity any longer. Because
Yeah.
right now they don't believe it, and I know that for a fact. I've talked to enough people to know that they don't believe that we can exist without the police. And for the most part, they might be right. That there's going to be a lot of dead people if we abandon the government tomorrow,
Yeah.
because people don't know how to live without the authoritarians telling them what to do and keeping law and order.
Yeah,
What we
and
have to
likewise,
start.
like we hear our fellows being like, well, I don't like the welfare system. Well, how are you going to convince them to give it up without making them believe that charity exists still? Like people literally believe that if you don't want welfare, that you want everyone to die. And it's because like the way that everything has become, I think that the government does too much for us. I keep hearing all those people say things like, well, I don't have to get involved in this, I pay my taxes. Um, we leave it up to them and we've stopped doing it for each other. Like I was saying earlier to somebody, when I was a kid, people could leave their doors open and stuff. And if somebody saw something odd going on around your car or your yard or your house or something, your neighbors would say something about it or call the police or something like that, and like they would get active to take care of their community members. We had a human element connection between each other.
That's because we had communities back then. The majority of us don't know our neighbors anymore. I have no idea who the fuck is living next to me anymore. Granted, because they moved out and so there's nobody there. But uh, yeah, most people don't know who their neighbors are anymore, and that's a huge part of it. The first thing that you've got to do is take care of your household, and then the next thing you have to do is start working with your neighbor to see if there's anything you can help them with and
Yeah.
establishing trust there. The neighborhood should be a extended family unit. We should all know who is who, and
Yeah.
if somebody's car isn't there and there's a whole bunch of people taking shit out of your house, we should know that, hey, this is a little fishy. We
Yeah.
know so and so isn't moving out of the neighborhood because they haven't said anything to anybody. So why the fuck is there a moving truck taking a whole bunch of shit out of there?
Yeah.
Or if there is gunshots in your household, is somebody robbing you? Is somebody getting murdered? Well, most people are gonna
Right.
mind their own fucking business. Maybe if you're lucky, call the police. But there's a lot of instances now where someone will get murdered or accidentally shot or something along those lines, and nobody will do anything about it because they're trying to mind their own business. We have
Yeah.
that a lot.
Yeah, it's like with the uh I was kind of loath to mention it, but now that I'm thinking about it, even no matter what happened with the Whiskey Warrior shit, it's a good example because like they told this dude's neighbors that there had been all sorts of different shit because they didn't really know each other or anything like that. They just accepted that and left the whole fucking neighborhood and abandoned their fellow neighbor. And I don't know if they would have done that otherwise because it might have been, fishy. But the people of the community that has been created out there, they came.
Mm-hmm. Because
And
they
that
knew them.
didn't just teach him that people would come to help him. It taught everyone who saw that people will come to help you.
Mm-hmm.
And that was actually really inspiring. Like I fucking cried. I cried. I was over here being like, this is so beautiful. But like
Right.
no matter what ended up happening there, we can use that as an example because like if you don't know your neighbors, they'll be able to separate you off from them and they won't even think about it because they won't have the ability to. um and
It's
if
why
it
censorship of the internet is so scary, is because it's right now that's how people are combining, that's how people are making friends, that's how people are socializing and making units, and they're wanting to take that away slowly but surely from us because they don't want us to be united. That's the scariest thing for a government, a tyrannical government, is
yeah
to have a united populace in any sense of the word. And there's 2A groups and 1A groups and stuff like that. That's terrifying to people that want to get rid of those things. That's their number one opposition is going to be the groups out there.
yeah
Once you start breaking those groups apart, and once you're able to silence those, which is why we don't need to have anything that has to do with censorship, because that's going to be something that comes along eventually.
if
Uh,
you want to shackle the individual, kill the community
hmm I mean,
because
that's the best.
we are strong when we are together. We the people, it means something.
hmm
Alone, yeah, we are individuals and that matters, but we're still just one person or maybe like two or three if it's a household.
It's going to take a lot of examples, but I definitely think we're getting there. I think a lot of people
Yeah.
are starting to wake up and realize that one, standing as a group is effective because there's been several instances now where people have stood up as a community, like the 2A sanctuary cities that they've got now.
Like
Uh,
the neighborhoods fighting here in Little Rock for their ISD.
yeah. Uh, but we are starting to show people and remind people that we can get things done as a group, that it is not a dying effort. And what's happening more and more, what people are really realizing is that it's not the federal government that we have to fight, it's the local governments. If we can retake the local, then we can actually make a difference. The federal government is going to do whatever the
Yeah.
fuck it wants to do, but if we can control the local areas, we're going to be perfectly fine. The local governments is where the power is at, because that's what's actually affecting us locally.
And
The
they
federal
say
government
that,
can make laws, and then the states can decide not to follow those things. We've done that before, so we
yeah.
have to empower the states.
Well, and we us like the libertarians and stuff like that, we know that these things are a thing. So like, it's great to bolster our spirits and give us inspiration, but we're not the ones that we have to convince. And like, I mean, I might make myself a bit vulnerable sometimes, but I try to treat everyone with the golden rule approach before I hit the silver rule. Like, once you show me you can't be trusted with the golden rule, I'll go to the silver rule with you. But if we're always just holding everyone to the silver rule, no one's ever going to get started. Because right now we're in a place in society where it should be just to me it should be just the most normal thing to say something about something fucked up going on or to do something about it or whatever. It just seems like it ought to be the simplest thing, but we're having people every day just walk by and not do anything. They just, I don't know if they're not noticing. I don't know if they think I don't know if it's a new social practice, like a social norm that's being pushed on it, like slipped into us or something. But like, we have got to break it. Like, you can't treat, if you really want there to be a change, because there are all these libertarians and anarchists out there who want there to be a change, but then they're fucking complete douchebags and all they do is serve themselves. Or, you can't be walking around going, I silver rule everything. You have to actually go the extra effort. I mean, you have to go the extra distance and be the example, because these people out here who don't believe in it aren't going to do that.
Don't be keyboard libertarians.
Yeah.
The thing that people are scared of, I can almost guarantee you, is going to be reputations. They're afraid of what they're going. That the people that didn't stand up for Whiskey Warrior, they were afraid of what the police were going to do. I can guarantee you. There was a lot of people that night afraid that there was going to be a lot of people that ended up dead because people were saying that they were going to come down there with guns to resist the police.
Well, I
Because
mean,
what
the
has
people
happened in the
who.
past, they have done that. They have tried to stand up against the police, and those people have ended up dead or in jail. Because that is what happens. Even though they're in the legal rights, the police will execute you.
Well, there were people who went out there and they were like, they were scared too. They knew that there could be repercussions to what they were doing. They knew that they could be harmed. It's not
Mhm.
easy. If you came over here into anarcho Cadia or fucking Libertaria or whatever, and you thought it was gonna be fucking easy, you're about to get a new fucking awakening, I guess. Because, like, no, in this world that we want to live in, no one's gonna fucking do it for you until you teach your community how to fucking do for each other again. Because people have
Hmm.
lived without this for so long. They've been like, some of it's newer, like the whole like not being able to let your kids out after dark or whatever. And I say newer, but we have several generations that have lived in a time period where you just couldn't do that ever. Like,
Right.
I came up in the time period where it stopped. So anyone who's younger than me basically didn't get to fucking do that. And so, like, we've been brought up in a world where we are taught to fear each other. And we have got to, if we want it to change, we have to become the people that you shouldn't fear.
It's not that there isn't people to fear out there, but it's that we've been taught to fear everybody.
Yeah.
Because there's definitely fucked up people, but that's the whole point, though, is we
Oh, yeah.
need to be able to rely on people. We need to know, it would be nice to be able to rely on your neighbor, that if they see your kid, talking to some stranger that isn't a part of your neighborhood, to fucking step in and, make sure that your child stays safe. Because right now people don't do that because nobody wants to get in trouble for so much as looking at a child these days. Like you just can't be friendly with children anymore. You're going to jail at this point.
Yeah, it's kind of awkward to
Unless
talk to kids, I
unless
gotta
you're a
say.
drag queen.
Unless
You're a drag queen having a strip show. It's perfectly safe to
uh,
talk to children.
I do not condone this.
You don't have to condone it. They already
Hashtag
do.
walk away. Run. Hashtag run away. Sorry, I
I'll
had to
change
fucking
this.
drop there.
I'll change the story whenever they like.
Well, I mean, even in that, they're like, we have to make we have to make a showing of the fact that not all people who are of this persuasion are okay with this thing. They've seen something and now they're doing something. Uh, you know, I can't be idle anymore. And those of us who know, I don't know how the hell you guys are being so damn idle. I don't know if you just, if you're tired. I don't know
Complacent.
if you're fake. I don't know if you're lazy, or like, get your fucking ass out of nihilismville or whatever and stop being a fucking pussy. We've
This is the
got to
time to
do
fight.
this. This is a time when we can make a fucking difference. And it doesn't have to be about crime. It doesn't have to be about crime. If you know your neighbor is having a hard time feeding their kids and you aren't, make some extra food tonight.
But bro, what will I eat?
What?
What will I eat?
That's why I said if you have extra.
No, I need to eat that too.
Yeah, don't be such a puss ass. If you want things to change, you've got to get out there and do it yourself. And like, there's so many people who spend their whole days just complaining about all this shit and everything, and it's like, I don't care anymore. Don't fucking complain to me if you're not gonna do something about it. Now is the time to actually do shit.
And that's the whole thing. Like, don't don't be on the libertarian or anarcho side if you're not here to fight, because we're the ones marching up the hill at the moment. The authoritarians are already at the top. We're trying to overthrow them. That's this whole thing. This is not a defensive battle. This is an offensive
No.
war. This is not a battle of attrition. We're going
And
to
if we
lose
win
that
by
battle.
force alone, it'll just go back the same way it was again. We have to teach people how to fucking
It has
trust
to be a
and
cultural and societal change.
we need
It
we the
cannot be through
people.
force.
Exactly. We cannot become the monster which we seek to defeat, right?
I think Six actually talks about this in his recent video.
Does he?
That if you're worried about porn and all that stuff, what you need to do is change society and culture. That's the only way that quote
Yeah, because
unquote,
just yelling about it is apparently making people meme you. That's about it.
I believe it.
Don't be a meme. Be a I don't know what to say here. I thought I was gonna say something clever, but just do it.
You never
Just
do.
do it. Shut the fuck you. Anyways, I think that's pretty good for tonight. Unless you had anything else to add. Did you have any thoughts to leave us with?
Just don't be a pussy. Fight the fight. If you don't want to fight, fucking join the authoritarians, or quite frankly, stop fucking talking about it. 'Cause we're tired of listening. We all fucking understand the government's evil. So if you're not fucking doing something to overthrow it, I don't really care.
Yeah. Also, if you do care, you could maybe like and subscribe and share this shit because it really, really, really does help. If you disagree with all this shit that we've said, if you think this is the dumbest idea ever, if you think that it's great and you want to talk about ideas on how we can all do things, if you have some experiences, if you have been the person who has watched this kind of thing plant its seeds and grow and you want to tell that story or whatever, get down in our comments, reach out and touch us on social media, get into our Discord. I mean, consensually touch us and then get into our Discord or whatever. We've got all these links down below. If you like us but you think our show's crappy and you want to help us make it better, we got links down there if you want to help us out. Whatever, most importantly, just get in here and talk to us. Become part of the conversation.
Yeah.
Until next time, this Mad Liberty Break is adjourned. Be safe.